Welcome back to the show, I guess I should say. I'm Shelly,
I'm Lena.
and this morning we're going to talk about magnetic marketing and how to attract, engage, and convert. And Lena, this is, I know, right up your alley. So why don't you share with us here first thing this morning? What is magnetic marketing?
Yeah, I think this is my favorite topic. Being currently an adjunct professor at Alamo colleges and specifically at Palo Alto College, and this is one of the topic I teach. It's not specifically on magnetic marketing, but it's principles of marketing. And I think being that our world is ever evolving and things change daily now, teaching digital marketing versus principles of marketing is not the same thing. But magnetic marketing, right? We all hear it. I think a lot of us heard what it is and what it works, but it's very, very simple, right? It's a strategy that focuses on attracting customers through relevant and engaging content. Something that pushes products and services to your prospects, to your leads, but in a different way. It's in a way where you tell your story, share the right content to the right people at the right time. And it relies heavily on understanding your audience needs, interest, crafting that message that resonates deeply with them. Think about Giving Tuesday, right? It's Giving Tuesday today.
Yeah.
So, what are all of our nonprofits doing? They are heavily fundraising. So, they are using magnetic marketing. They're using messages that connect with their donors and sponsors and volunteers. They're using specific tones. Think about any images, faces of kids, depending on a nonprofit and the goal of it. Um, the messages the stories that they tell, the videos that they share. It's also that you can connect with them and donate money to them. And so basically, what it does, it turns your brand into magnet, right? Naturally pulling consumers, your clients, and because they connect with what they stand for and the solutions you offer to them.
Yeah, I think last week we talked about on the sales aspect of it, and speeding up and creating sort of that stickiness. So talking about that magnetic marketing, how do we catch their attention? So let's give a real world example of potentially magnetic marketing and maybe how it can go wrong.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, again, right, going back to Giving Tuesday, I think I'm going to be talking a lot about Giving Tuesday because what I want you to do is go donate. um, Go and check out everybody's campaign and see what everyone is using. We just came back from Thanksgiving, and we've seen all of the Super Bowl commercials. Honestly, I haven't seen a single one yet. I usually wait for a week until all this hype is over, and then I go over and view them and vote and see which campaign was the best. Things not to do is not to do market research, right? If you don't do your market research and you don't know what your audience is and who are your listeners, who are those magnets, right? Who are those people that are trying to connect with you, is a big no-no. Also, offering the right content at the right time, and also probably at the right platform. We live in a digital world, so people consume information via websites, social media platforms, any digital products that they may be reading, any audio that we may be listening, right? Think about podcasts. So I think doing it at the right time to the right people in the right places is what's the most important thing.
Yeah, well, and I think we both talked about this word authenticity and being authentic to yourself, to your brand. So can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Yeah, I think remembering that there's a story behind what you do or what your brand does, or and also remembering you have goals and objectives, and you have to align this story towards those goals and objectives. So, if you are a restaurant, then stick to your food and beverage industry, right? Don't try to um, think. Here's a good example of what you may be doing during the holidays, right? Doing some kind of food drive, maybe offering free dinners at one night. Things not to do is maybe, and it's not to say you shouldn't be volunteering, but volunteering, bringing pets or doing something with pets or shelters, books, right? Something that just doesn't resonate with you and your goals and objectives. So I think the importance of magnet marketing and how to attract people is, remember, content marketing. At the heart of magnetic marketing lies your content marketing. SEO, which is your search engine optimization, we talk about it a lot, and there's so many amazing tools nowadays. Rely on AI, figure out how to use it the best way, because it's going to be your best friend, and you're going to be able to highlight your website, your presence online, and then social media. I think a lot of the clients that I talk to, they always think immediately, well, I have to be everywhere. There's a big difference between being on every social media platform and utilizing it the right way. Should you get a handle on all the platforms? Absolutely. Should you be using it every platform? Absolutely not. Stick to 1, 2, maybe 3 tops best where your audience is, and share that right content. Like for instance, for Shelly and I, it's LinkedIn. This is where we are. She actually also uses Twitter, X, right? That's not my thing. I don't understand Twitter. I think I've signed up for it in 2000s and I never understood it, and it's just kind of there, but I don't use much of it. But like I said, it's just right people, right audience, right places.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's such a great thing. I think everybody tries to tackle everything at once. So that advice to really, have a handle, but focus in on those key areas where your clients are sitting. You can always add later, but start and get really good at the very beginning. So now I think we've talked about this example between you and I, but let's talk about Dove, Dove Beauty Care. You want to talk about them a little bit and one of their big campaigns that they did?
Yeah, I bring this a lot. Also in my teaching, Dove's Real Beauty campaign. I'm not sure if a lot of you've watched it. It's the campaign from 2004, right? Dove is a global personal care brand that launched the Real Beauty campaign. So if you can go ahead and YouTube it and just search it, it's very quick, short, straight to the point. I believe it's like a minute or so, but it shows you how they've captured their audience, an audience of women specifically. It was a groundbreaking campaign, emerged from a study showing that only 2% of women considered themselves beautiful. And I think us women struggle with insecurities all the time, right? We have this thing because, again, we're living in the digital world, and everything we see and everything that's shown to us all the way from young age has been this beautiful woman, skinny, toned, flawless skin. And in reality, now that we're in 2023, feminism is real. It's just not what it is, right? The objective was not just to sell products, but to spark a global conversation about the need for a more realistic and diverse portrayal of beauty. So what they did is they executed this campaign through a mix of traditional and digital marketing channels. It featured real women of various sizes, ages, ethnicity in its advertising rather than professional models, as we know and what they usually look like. Campaign included print and TV advertisements, billboards, workshops, and significant online presence with viral videos such as Evolution Video. And this is the one that I encourage you all to go take a look at it. And then Dove also leveraged social media, again, back in 2004 when social media was just big hype, and encouraged discussions and user-generated content, and allowing the campaign to gain organic traction and reach. So what impact did it have? It actually had a profound impact, right, on both brand perception and sales specifically. It sparked international conversation about beauty ideals and body positivity. I think thinking about it now, if you remember, Victoria's Secret is in hotspot. It's been in hotspot for last 4 or 5 years, ever since the Victoria's Secret show's been canceled. And this is the reason exactly why they were canceled, right? There was no diversity in their models. So a couple of lessons learned from this Dove's campaign. Authenticity resonates, right? We just talked about it. It can be a powerful tool for marketing. Brands can align their campaigns with real life, relatable experiences. So with the people, right? They've seen these real women and they connected to them, right? They saw themselves in these women. Emotional connection, right? Creating campaign that evokes strong emotional responses leads to high engagement and brand loyalty. And then social responsibility was a huge moment for them. Integrating social responsibility into your brand's message can strengthen your brand's reputation, voice. It leads to meaningful conversation and meaningful customer relationship, right? Because at the end of the day, what are we trying to do with marketing is create that trust. And then obviously the cross-channel synergy. They utilize a mix of traditional and digital channels. And I think doing that is what helps amplify campaigns' reach and impact. So
Yeah.
yeah, Dove's campaign was top. And so usually what I do at week 3, it's a flex 8-week classes for marketing. I asked my students what is the favorite campaign that they've noticed. And I see all kinds of answers. And it's actually interesting because none of them come from a marketing background. So what it does is it makes them go and search for these campaigns online and go to YouTube and watch it and see these commercials so they can talk about it and see if they can connect with it and what it is that spoke to them, like what storyline was created that spoke to them.
Yeah, it's so great. And I think we talked about last week on where I find this message that resonates with me so much is that when we're trying to connect and align with our clients, we want to have that authentic message. We want them to understand and trust us just as much as we want to understand and trust them. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, in your view, how can small businesses especially apply these lessons that, that campaign, that Real Beauty campaign and the marketing strategies that Dove used? How can they use that on a smaller scale?
Yeah, I think by focusing on real stories, like genuine customer experiences that reflects their brand's unique values and community. This is something we're doing with Emerging Rise. We have a video shoot coming up on Saturday, hopefully, among other things that I have going on. But this is what we're doing. We're creating a storyline. We're trying to create a story as to how was Emerging Rise born, what prompted me to start it, how do we connect with our small business community in San Antonio, how do our entrepreneurs evolve from taking this program, the Lotus program, and going beyond. So it's all about storyline. It's all about emotions, right? And just telling you why did you start this? Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are you trying to accomplish with this? I think this is what you and I do a whole lot, right? We've got together in March and started talking about our new venture. And since March, we've been planning religiously what it is that we're doing, where are we going, what are we trying to accomplish? Because my biggest fear out of all of this, and I think I realized this yesterday and I haven't told you about it yet, is we're going into this big AI world. And right, being that I'm an AI consultant, I do a lot of research, I read a lot. I realize that a lot of small business entrepreneurs have this amazing tool like ChatGPT or Jasper or any word or whatever tool that they use that they could be utilizing it, right? They may not need consultants anymore. They may not need graphic designers. They may not need marketers anymore because this tool can tell them what to do and how to do it. So how do you leverage this? How do we leverage this so that we are still needed? And how do small businesses leverage it so it doesn't sway them to where they shouldn't be going?
Yeah, I think it's such a great point, and I think that what we all have to realize is these are great tools, but they're tools.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, they don't. They're like anything else. I always joke because I'm of a different generation than a lot of people potentially that are out there in our social community. But when you look at this, it's like the giant card catalog. AI is basically like I can look at everything all at once and feed you information. but we have to, as that resource, then, is that information relevant? Is it correct? Is it authentic? Does it tie back to what our messaging we want to do? Does it tie back to the sales performance that we want to do? So I think that's really important. I want to just pivot really quickly and talk about media and the role that you think that potentially social media, especially in 2004, when it wasn't in its infancy, but the way that people use it now, it absolutely was in its infancy. How do you feel like it amplified this campaign on Dove's side? And how do you think that it could be potentially replicated by the small to mid-sized business community?
Yeah, this is where I have like love and hate relationship with social media. Back then, the social media was instrumental to amplifying Dow's campaign, right? Providing platform for widespread engagement and discussion. It gave space. At that time, it was a safe space for people to speak up and just project what it is that they felt and thought. So other brands can replicate pretty much same thing by creating content that resonates emotionally, encouraging sharing, and the dialogue. I also am against creating a content and just sharing it across all platforms. I think the first thing that all businesses should remember is, if you have a piece of content, figure out what type of audience is on each platform that you're sharing with, and rewrite that content so that it'll resonate with that. And what I mean by that is Instagram. If we think about Instagram, majority of Instagrammers are Gen Zs right now, Gen Xers, and some millennials. We have a smaller, actually, audience of Gen Zs. And so for that, we would probably have a content that's cheery. Again, right, images no longer work, so it has to be a video based. And then if we take the same content and put it on LinkedIn, it will not work, because LinkedIn people are professionals. These are people that are heavily selling something, trying to buy something, lots of lurkers, but these are different type of people. You wouldn't put the same content you put on Instagram on LinkedIn. So you have to rewrite it. And this is why I say use those tools, right? Use those ChatGPT and all, any other AI-based tools. Rewrite the content to resonate with that audience in a different way, and then share that image, right? No longer needed for a video. And then do the same thing with X, or maybe you write something on other platforms. So, but just remember how to share your message across different social media platforms in the right way.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it kind of leads into my next question for you. And I think one of the subjects that we are both super passionate about, which is strategy and thinking strategically. So when we look at that from a strategic standpoint, how would a small to mid-sized company or organization measure success of campaigns, especially emotion-driven campaigns? Because, that measurement can be a little bit tricky sometimes.
Yeah. Well, we live in a great world of AI, and there's many, many amazing social listening tools. So for instance, think about Google Trends, right? If you put something like Atlas Start or, Shelly Man, anytime Shelly Man is mentioned outside of anywhere digitally, it'll send an email and say, hey, you were mentioned this article, right? Or if she's doing any PR. So brands should measure the success of emotionally driven campaigns by looking beyond traditional metrics to include engagement levels, sentiment analysis, impact on the brand perception, and loyalty. And this is where I think I speak highly of social listening tools and any reviews or feedback that you get, that you can collect and analyze it and figure out what's working, what's not working. Should we continue with this, or should we abandon this, or should we adjust that approach or that campaign?
Yeah, it's so funny, because I think unless you're in some of this space, you don't realize that there are these social listening tools out there. Mm-hmm. The day that I stumbled upon Google Trends, I was like, where has this been all my life? So I think doing a little bit of research and understanding what tools and resources you have out there is so critical. And I think that's, shameless plug here, but I think that's where we as consultants bring that extra value to companies and organizations that don't really understand that space. So one more question for you, and that's really, again, based upon Dove. I think this is such a great example for us to talk about, but based on, Dove in this case that they've done, what would be your number one piece of advice for a business trying to, really make that magnetic marketing, really make that attachment to their client or potential client base?
Yeah, I think my number one advice would be to stay true to your story, to your values, to your voice, to your tone, authenticity, right, in your messaging. It'll resonate more deeply and with your audience than any superficial marketing tactics. I think being out there and showing what you're really about and how you make difference is what at the end is what it's all about. I think another thing that right, where we talk about emerge and rise a lot is when we're trying to find mentors, volunteers, donors. We don't want to just people. Same thing like board members, right? We don't want a board member who would just put a title on and just says, I'm a board member of this organization and does nothing. We want people who actually connect with us, who want to be in our community, who want to help our community, who want to be that voice and advocate for change. And if you think about it, so this is a nonprofit, but if you think about for profit, right? Why do we fight at Advantage? We only planning to work with certain clients. It's not to say that we're going to turn down or turn away certain people, but we have certain goals and objectives where we're going, and we want to do certain things. So it'll only apply to certain organizations, certain businesses that we'd want to work with. So I think brands, values, and voice are the most important things.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think that this is such a great way, that magnetic marketing campaign and that connection with your audience or your potential audience. One of the hardest things that we can do is lose control of our audience or have somebody else own that space where we don't own it. I've seen that in my past career trajectory. If you look at the hospitality space and you look at, even if you look at today, if you are a direct-to-consumer seller through Amazon, Amazon sort of owns the audience space and that communication, and you don't as a company owner. So that magnetic marketing is a way to kind of pull them back in and have them in your pocket. So I'm going to shamelessly plug here because it's Giving Tuesday, and we've heard it mentioned a couple of different times, Emerge and Rise. Lena, I know we have a few more minutes. I want you to talk about this because I think it's such a great project. I think it was one of the things that really made me connect with you when we first met and what you're trying to do with this space. So tell us more.
I came to Texas 4 years ago. Actually, now almost 4 years on the dot. And we also came on a 35-degree weather. It was 12 o'clock midnight, just arrived with 2 cars from New York City. So I came here. I brought my business with me. And the first thing I thought, this was right before the pandemic, right, 2019. I thought first thing is, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Who do I meet with? I need to start mingling, networking so that I can start selling, right, my services. And so the more I started dipping into, what is San Antonio offering? What are some organizations? Where should I go? Who should I, which organizations should I sign up with? I couldn't find much of anything. And then, of course, pandemic started and all the chaos about small businesses failing and lack of resources that we had. I came across a TV show. I can't remember the name of it. Something about a billionaire, obviously about Grant Cardone and how he got the $100 to start a multi-million-dollar business, which he succeeded in his way. He actually thought he did not, but viewers did see that he succeeded from nothing, from scratch. So I thought, okay, I want to do something similar. I want people to come to us to ask for help, where we're going to be able to present them with market research, help them with the business plan, show them how to apply for grant or capital. And so I was trying to find the right people and try to figure out what resources I needed, what programs I needed. And so we are now into our 3rd year. We are just graduating our 3rd cohort next Thursday, and nice. Starting our 4th one in February. So, and then with that, Lotus program is successfully working, and we are launching Accelerator program. So Incubate is the Lotus program. For those, it's Business 101, business fundamentals. It's very, those entrepreneurs that are just starting out. And then we have an accelerator that's starting sometime in March. which would be for those who've been in business 2 years-ish and kind of stuck and don't know where to go. I actually have a client that I'm working with right now, 1 year, but they're growing like crazy. So they can actually work with me and afford working with me. But for those that do not have those specific funds, they could go to Emerge and Rise. And, and then sometime by the end of spring, we're launching Entrepreneurship Leadership Academy. It's a very specific leadership academy, how to be an entrepreneur, how to build the right team, how to create a culture, but also how to be the best small business within San Antonio community. How do you connect with that community? How do you help the community, and how can you have them help you?
Yeah, I think we're both really passionate about that because we're both not natives to San Antonio. I'm a Texas native, but not native to San Antonio, and it can be very difficult to integrate yourself into a very established business community with people who know each other. So that's critical to the success of any business, is becoming established in the community. So good deal. So
again, Giving Tuesday, we have 4 minutes. If you have some funds to donate, perfect time, right? Giving time, holiday season, 100% tax deductible. So I think I am saying that correctly. I'll look into that more. But yeah, this is your chance. But we have a lots of amazing organizations to donate today. So
yeah, absolutely. So, and I think we're all going to be watching the holiday commercials a little bit more to see, are they a little bit more magnetic? What's catching our attention out there? So, Lena, what are we talking about next week?
Good question. Yeah. So next week we're going to go into our, let's see. We've been prepping.
Yes.
We've been prepping. Okay. Next week, we're going to talk operational agility, right? Learn operations, maximizing efficiency for growth. So focus on streamlining your operations to support rapid scaling, implementing agile methodologies, and tech integration to boost productivity. So I think this is where Shelly and I are both going to come and talk about this because, with her experience in hospitality and my experience in small business industry, I think we have a lot to talk about and introduce new tech tools.
Yeah, absolutely. So good deal. I haven't seen any questions pop up from anybody out there. But if you do have questions or comments, we are always here. And if you have topics that you would like for us to talk about on a future live, absolutely share that with us. You can share it with us in the chat, or if you know us and want to email us, you can absolutely email either one of us. We'd be happy to tackle any topics that you have out there. Anything else, Lena, for today?
Yeah, I think we're going to share magnetic marketing little tips and sheets. And if you do need, if any other help, then reach out to us. Other than that, we will be signing out, and until next Tuesday.
Absolutely. Talk to you guys later.